if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
All right, folks, we got a breaking news emergency video for you because so much has happened in the past hour. It is absolutely insane. So the news you may have heard already is that Joe Biden apparently just caught COVID-19, but there's a lot more to the story because some people are saying this is clear evidence he is about to drop out. He went on an interview just hours before this and said if he comes down with a medical condition, he may consider dropping out. And then hours later, he comes down with COVID-19. So there's a lot to be said there. And simultaneously, at almost the exact same time it was announced that Biden got COVID, we got headlines from places like ABC News that are reporting that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries allegedly met with Biden recently to try to tell him directly to his face it would be best if he dropped out. So is Biden dropping out? Is it just a coincidence? What the heck is going on? Let's break it down all for you today in detail, and let's go in chronological order because maybe that will make the most sense to tell the narrative here. So this is before it was announced that Biden got COVID. Apparently, he did an interview today where he said that he would step down if, quote, a medical condition emerged. And keep in mind, this was earlier today. And, take a listen to this, and then we'll talk about it in a second.
If I had some medical condition that emerged, if the doctors came to me and said, you got this problem, that problem. But I made a serious mistake in the whole debate. And look, when I originally ran, you may remember it, I said I was going to be a transitional candidate. And I thought that I'd be able to move from this to pass it on to someone else. But I didn't anticipate things getting so divided. And quite frankly, I think the only thing age brings is a little bit of wisdom. And I think I've demonstrated that I know how to get things done for the country.
So again, you can't make this up, and maybe it's just a coincidence, but it's still worth noting, right? Hours before Biden announces he caught COVID, he says if he gets a medical condition, he will drop out of the race. So a lot there. But okay, that said, that was earlier today. Now the news you might have heard just a couple of hours ago is that Biden was about to do a campaign speech in Nevada, and it was canceled basically live after being announced that he tested positive for COVID. So take a listen to what happened there.
Regrettably, I was just on the phone with President Biden, and he shared his deep disappointment at not being able to join us this afternoon. The president has been at many events, as we all know, and he just tested positive for COVID. So, of course, we understand that he needs to take the precautions that have been recommended, and he did not obviously want to put anybody at risk.
So look, I'm certainly not denying that Biden has COVID. It is completely possible. But at the same time, I do think the timeline here is just a little bit strange. I'm not saying he doesn't have it. Like I said, it's totally possible he actually does have COVID. But like, why would you fly all the way to Nevada to do this event and have everyone show up, and then at the very last minute, you're standing in the green room and you're about to go on and you're like, let me take a COVID test. Oh, I'm positive, can't do the event. Like, objectively speaking, the whole thing is a little bit strange. And so I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying it's not true, but I think it's important to analyze all the possibilities. And yes, one possibility is that Biden just has COVID, but obviously catching COVID would also be a convenient excuse for Biden to not be in the public eye for at least the next week or so. And if we want to make speculation over his future in the race and what exactly is going on here, that is something to consider for sure. So this right here is the video of Biden apparently leaving the event, getting back on Air Force One after catching COVID. And check this out, because there's a few things I notice here, okay? So the first thing I noticed is that Joe Biden was not wearing a mask there, and neither were the people around him, which I think is kind of a dangerous super spreader act, is it not? I thought this was, well, everyone needs to wear a mask when you have COVID at least. Oh, you know, unmasked Biden just walking onto the plane, exposing all these guys right here, the Secret Service, the military, whatever that is, to COVID. So, you know, that is number one. But on top of that, you also notice that Biden was clearly struggling here to walk up the stairs. And allegedly, we were told by Biden that he's fine. You know, he just has mild symptoms or whatever. He's just going to be isolating. But just a lot here, obviously, to unpack. Because almost at the exact same time that the COVID news dropped, it was reported by ABC News. And I don't know, at least they released this headline. I don't even know if it's true or what's going on here, but this is all happening in the past like 2 hours here, okay? It says, Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told Joe Biden in a meeting on Saturday that it would be better for the country if he ended his re-election bid. And we got a similar headline like that for Hakeem Jeffries. It is obviously Wednesday, so of all the times you could release this news, why was it released right now? I don't know. Not here to speculate. I'm just certainly saying that a lot of different things are going on and the whole situation is crazy. And like I said, if they did want to replace Biden, whether he really has COVID or not, this would certainly be an angle to maybe see that happen. So the way I see it, there are three possibilities here. Possibility number one is that Joe Biden simply got COVID and no one was expecting it, and it is what it is. Now, at the same time, I think it would be naive to deny that this is still going to have an impact on the future of the race and, you know, the talk of whether or not Biden's going to drop out or not. So that certainly still has an impact, but that's possibility number one. Possibility number two that I think a lot of conservatives especially are considering is that Biden has COVID, or at least says he has COVID, because he's going to use it as a pretense to drop out of the race. And you may point to the medical condition statements earlier today as examples of that. And hey, you know, maybe that is potentially true. But there is also possibility number three that Biden is using the COVID not as a pretext to drop out of the race, but rather as a pretext to stay in the race. Because what this also would give Joe Biden is an excuse to hunker down for the next week, if not next couple of weeks, and basically shield himself from the world, shield himself from the media criticism, shield himself from the other Democrats who may try to approach him and talk about dropping out. And so I think we should acknowledge that also is a possibility. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why all this news is dropping at once. I'm trying the best I can to dissect this as you are, but let's just say something certainly is going to happen. Something is certainly going to impact the race. Like, you have political reporting just minutes after the COVID thing was announced that the Democrat Party is in, quote, total meltdown. So there's a lot of internal chaos again going on here, folks. And I don't know what's true and what's not. I don't know if, like, what angle this is all going to go. But I will say one thing definitively. If Joe Biden really does have COVID, truly, I wish him all the best. I wish him a speedy recovery. Not just because it is the classy thing to do, but also because I want Joe Biden to stay in the race, right? We need Joe Biden to be healthy, in good spirits, etc., to accept the Democrat nomination next month. And look, it's an undeniable fact that there are probably a lot of people within his party that want him gone from the race one way or another. And I'm disavowing that, okay? I wish Biden a speedy recovery. I hope he stays in good health. I, as a Trump supporter, want him to be the candidate. And so, you know, that's all I really have to say on that front, because however way this goes, this will undeniably be used by the anti-Biden Democrats, right? By the people trying to push him out of the race to, at the very least, leverage that to say, look, Biden, this is another reason you need to drop out. And so I'm strongly rooting that Biden overcomes COVID quickly with no complications, so that way that doesn't happen, right, folks? All right, with that said, let me know your thoughts on this crazy emergency news. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.